Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, guilty or not guilty? Is anyone really going to jail? Next. Good morning and welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. It is Monday, the 28th of July. July is almost over, but purple sand continues, my friends. The purple sand continues. Let's get right to it on viewer mail. So we've got this from Patrick. Patrick says, hey Daniel, quick question. What are your 4 Mount Rushmores of film all time? Your 4 Mount Rushmores of film. And that's really hard to say, Patrick. The greatest 4 all time for me. I'd say Godfather, The Godfather. I know a lot of people say Godfather 2, but Godfather 1, the first one. And then, believe it or not, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka. 2001 Space Odyssey is in my top 4. And then what's my 4th? God, that's really, really hard. The 4th greatest film of all time. Could be Raging Bull. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the way it was shot, Scorsese is brilliant. I'll go with those 4. Thanks for writing me, Patrick. Listen, if you get the opportunity, please, it helps us tremendously if you follow, if you like, and if you share the show. So you guys on TikTok, especially YouTube, following the show, subscribing to the show is amazing, and it really helps us be able to keep going. So I appreciate you. Thank you. Hit subscribe now. That would be wonderful. So a lot of noise going on both sides. I mean, it's just amazing when someone unearths on either side something that's controversial, that could be troublesome for the other party. Then they pick something. I love what Obama said. Obama said, if you just throw enough crap at it, if you just make up enough stuff, if you just bombard it with enough information, you'll see that it creates such distraction that some of it sticks. The press has to cover it. You know, they have to give it some kind of attention because people are yelling and screaming it from the rafters. Certain political agendas, certain newspapers, certain news outlets, they keep saying, Trump did this. Trump, 94 convictions on saying the price of his real estate was high. But it doesn't matter. You'll get all these Democrats running around now going, he was found guilty, he was found guilty. That his dog urined on the curb is what he was found guilty of. But okay, suddenly that's a felony. I'm going with an energy drink today. I need some more energy. Can you tell? So Obama, they're more than suggesting. They say they have evidence they can prove. She was very clear about that, this Gabbard. So she says that she has documents that lead and will prove that Barack Obama was behind making up this whole story in 2016 about Trump and Russia and all this other stuff. I'm sure by now, I'm assuming you've heard enough about it, so I'm not going to go through all the history of it. Here's the interesting thing and what really the show is about today. Because I was sitting there thinking to myself, wow, they can prove, they can try him, and then I realized, wait a minute, he was a US president. So he's immediately exonerated of anything he did while he was the president. He was the president while this happened. He can't be prosecuted for anything. Nothing. They can't do anything about it. A rule for the ages. This is what Justice Neil Gorsuch claimed the Supreme Court was deciding when it heard oral arguments on President Donald Trump's claim of absolute immunity in April 2024. 2 months later, the court did indeed hand down such a rule, endorsing Trump's view that a former president cannot be criminally indicted for official acts carried out during the course of his presidency. The rationale for granting immunity was ostensibly to protect former presidents without it. The court argued prosecutions by current administrations of their predecessors would quickly become routine. So you can't prosecute them. All this talk, all this stuff about Obama and the things he did and what other things will this lead to and blah, blah. Barack Obama's never going to sit the inside of a jail cell. Would this likely tarnish his reputation? Would this tarnish his presidency? blah, 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 blah. Yes, I believe that his reputation would take a hit. I believe that, like many other high-profile criminals, there are going to be people around him, around this scandal, that are probably going to suffer. And it'd be interesting to take a look at who those people are, because there's a couple on my wish list that I've just known for a long, long time. They were dirty. I've just known they were dirty, they were pieces of shit, and that they were people that really had it coming. And so to think that some of these people might get it, but let me read on. The U.S. Justice Department has formed a strike force to investigate claims that the Obama administration carried out a treasonous conspiracy by using false intelligence to suggest Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election to help Donald Trump. Pam Bondi, the U.S. Attorney General, announced the new force's formation on Wednesday after the release of a trove of declassified documents from Barack Obama's national security team by the director of the National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The announcement comes as the U.S. president finds himself mirrored in scandal over the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, and has tried to distract by pivoting conversations retribution against his political enemies. I never got that they're coming out with all this Obama stuff, knowing they can't prosecute him, because they're trying to hide something to do with Epstein. But I'll say this: if they are hiding something, and this is Trump too, if Trump's hiding something, and you think that it's because he had something to do with anything, I think he's made it very clear he's never even been to the island. Did he run around in social circles and his picture was taken occasionally with Jeffrey Epstein? There's probably 50 parties that a lot of us went to that Jeffrey Epstein might have been there. I wouldn't even have known who he was. I don't know him. But people come up to me all the time, hey, can I take my picture with you? And that's now. I mean, I'm not like Joe Famous, and on several TV shows and movies as I was in the 90s. But people ask to take their picture with me. I don't ask who they are. Can I ask what you do for a living? Who are you? Can I see an IRS report? Can I see an FBI page on you? Do I look them up ahead of? You take the stupid picture. So the affiliation association between, I think, Bill Clinton is now on 28 flights. 28 times he was out to the island. Ooh, whoa, Big Bill. What's going on there, 28? Now batting number 28, Bill Clinton. Following accusations made by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and former President Donald Trump, there has been speculation about other individuals from the Obama administration who could potentially face prosecution in connection with the allegations related to the 2016 election and Russia. Some of the individuals named in connection with these accusations include Hillary Clinton. The CIA director suggested she could face criminal prosecution. The crowd is going wild. Remember the old, when they showed in the Westerns when they would hang somebody for doing something terrible? He was a horse thief and he was caught and he killed somebody, and they'd always say, hang him high. Well, let me tell you something. Short of actually yelling hang him, if this woman could possibly face some kind of justice for the toll, the wake of destruction and people who's lost their lives, and I quivered thinking the idea that she was going to be president. I really did. I remember there was I shouldn't say the name of the country because then you're going to know the person. Sorry, I've had this thing with my throat. Let me just say this country was a Middle Eastern country. And this guy was the equivalent to their president. And he said to me privately, he said, we talked about Trump and we talked about Hillary. And he said, we're not afraid of Trump. Trump's a business guy. We know what he's going to try to do, and we know the moves, and we'll figure out how to work it out with him if he wins. He said, there's only one person on the planet we're afraid of, and that's if Hillary Clinton wins. If she wins, we actually are frightened of what could happen. That's literally what he said. They were afraid of what it would be like to have her lead the United States, that they would have to deal with her because they had dealt with her before as Secretary of State. And she, of course, was around for 2 terms of her husband being president. And they knew exactly what she was capable of. And that was frightening to them. It was frightening. You could see his face. He was like, oh, God, don't let that happen. Don't elect this lady as president. That's what he said. James Clapper, he served as Obama's Director of National Intelligence and is among the officials implicated by Gabbard in the alleged conspiracy. So, old James looks like he might face some trouble. John Brennan, the former CIA director, is another figure named by Gabbard as potentially involved in the supposed conspiracy. John Kerry, the then Secretary of State, is also among those Gabbard is implicated in this alleged conspiracy. Susan Rice, she was Obama's national security advisor at the time and has also been named. Andrew McCabe, the then deputy FBI director, is another individual Gabbard has suggested is implicated in an alleged conspiracy. So, what does all this mean? Well, I'm going to tie it all up. It's going to be a short show. I know you're thirsty, as I am, for people to be, to make it just, to make them pay. The amount of stuff. I mean, there was times it was so convincing that I read about President Trump with this Russia thing, and I started thinking, did Putin get people like with satellites, or did they get into voting machines, or was there what, like, how did they do it? Was it, I mean, they got me really thinking, was it possible this went on? And guess what? Here's the scary thing. The whole thing was made up. All that stuff that you heard in the news, all that stuff from CNN, all that stuff from NBC, ABC, all of them. Every one of those outlets telling us how the election was stolen, how Trump and Putin are friends, and now you're going to see every decision that Trump's made is going to be the payback for Putin to get him elected. I mean, all this crazy conspiratorial stuff, all of it. They sat, in the Oval Office or wherever they did it, and they sat in the room and they said, I got a great idea. Let's just, Russia. Americans have been programmed since the 60s, since the Cold War, to hate Russia and to think badly about Russia and all this stuff. So let's throw it at Russia. Everyone hates Putin. I got a great idea. Let's put it all on Trump and make it look. And they did. They made up the whole story. They lost. They got their ass kicked. Hillary got beat. And they decided to take him down and make it as hard as it possibly could be for him to be successful. Why do you think that Trump has come out the gate doing so much now, plowing through all the detractors and everything? Because he's not going to let anything stop him now. He's not going to let people stop him from getting this ship right, because he only has 4 years now. He only has 4 years. We don't know what's going to happen in 4 years from now, 3.5 years. If JD's going to win, is Rubio going to run with him? Is Rubio going to run against him? Will Marco stay where he is now, where he's very effective and doing well? I think JD Vance for president, Marco Rubio vice president would be a great ticket. I think that would be an awesome ticket. I think a lot of people would respect that ticket. And then let Rubio take his turn. Let him be VP for 8 years and come back in and be president for 8 years. And we'll just take over the White House for 20 straight years. That would be great. I would love that. I would love, the sound of that is amazing to my ears. But I want you to imagine that this law goes to the Supreme Court and they decide that a president cannot be held accountable. Now, when Obama did this, that law was not in effect. I believe that law came into effect under Trump. But still, right now he's exonerated of any wrongdoing of things he did while he was president. So he's not going to face any time. He's going to take one on the chin about that he was a crook, that he was a liar. He's going to take a tremendous beating on his personal reputation. And then a lot more eyes are going to be on him of other things he did. It's going to open up investigations of things that he did after he was president, which I still think he's probably had his hand in some things that he wishes now he didn't, because a lot of them are going to come out. People are not going to want to have to do time for Barack Obama. Or you're going to start seeing people disappear again, which is, not something evidently that he's not been implicated in before. There have been some witnesses that were due to testify that about Obama that have mysteriously just vanished, or perfectly healthy and they had a heart attack, and you have no idea what these people are capable of. But I want to remind you of something else. I want to go back to Joe Biden for a minute. When I talk about, are any of these guys, are any of them really going to do any hard time? Are they really going to pay criminally and then be incarcerated or penalized? Or Anthony Fauci? Yes, there was a pardon issued to Anthony Fauci in January 2025 by President Joe Biden. Here's the breakdown of the key aspects of the pardon. In presidential pardons, it's kind of a going away gift. And some of them have done hundreds of pardons. Some of them have done, like there was, guys that were caught with big amounts of marijuana, big garbage bags full of it. They were definitely distributing it. But it was marijuana. It was California. It was 1985. And they've been in there for 15 years already. And so, yeah, we're gonna let that guy out now. He did a lot of time. It wasn't like he killed someone or sexually or raped someone or did whatever, or something that you're gonna keep him in there because he could hurt somebody else, and he deserves to be in there for a lifetime or whatever. These were like drug charges. Some guys were in there for small amounts of cocaine or whatever, and they're doing like life because the penalties back then were hard. And they let some of those guys out. They did a lot of time and they let them go. Okay, I get that one. Non-violent, I get that one. Timing and scope. The pardon was issued in January 2025, just before Biden left office. It grants a full and unconditional pardon for any potential federal offenses Fauci may have committed between January 1, 2014, and the date of the pardon relating to his service as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, as a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, or the White House COVID-19 response team, or as chief medical advisor to President, okay, so we got the Biden. Preventive nature. The pardon is considered preemptive because Fauci has not been charged with any crimes at the time it was issued. Now think about that. We're not talking about the drug dealer guys we just talked about. We're not talking about other people that might have been caught up in some, not that they didn't commit a crime, but they've done years, some of them decades, and they're being let out now, like enough is enough. We're gonna let you go. Here's one of the powers I have as president. We look at the case. His children are now grown up. He's missed them growing up. And, we're going to let this guy go. He's 55 now. He's been in since he's 25 or something nonsense. Fauci wasn't charged with anything. It's a preemptive pardon. So we think people might come after you. We think you might face some charges down the road. So we're going to give you this blanket of protection without even looking at what it is you did or being found guilty first, so that maybe a president or two down the road might decide they want to pardon you. No. So what Fauci and some of the things that were suspected that he might have done is that they made the COVID vaccine virus in Wuhan. President Obama signed for funding to continue research, sent the money over there while he was president. Now, does somebody like Fauci say, yeah, we got this little thing we're doing over in Wuhan, you might want to sign that, we need it? I'll give Obama the benefit of the doubt. He may not have known anything about what he was signing. Probably should have done his homework. Or maybe he knew they were making a weapon, a big, huge, money-making weapon, something that would be guaranteed to destroy the first presidency of Donald Trump, guaranteed that it could have killed a lot of people, and guaranteed that the guys that owned stock in the companies that had the vaccination would become gazillionaires. Royalties paid and monies paid to Fauci, Fauci's friends, to Obama, to this one, to Biden. I don't know, I want to see the money. I want to see where the money went. But one thing for sure, more billionaires were made during COVID than any other drug before. The vaccinations made the most money ever in the pharmaceutical world, ever. And Fauci was given a preemptive pardon. Now, can you imagine that meaning? Hey, we need you to say that you have to take this vaccination, or if you're a cop, you lose your job, or if you're a fireman, you lose your job, or if you want to go to this college, you can't go there, or if you work for any civil service, teachers, nurses, this, that, you lose your job if you don't get it. Union members here, but we want you to tell everybody it's safe, that you got to take it, that it prevents you from getting it, that it prevents the spread, that it saves your life. I mean, all these things. And well, what if I can't say that because I don't know? Don't worry about it. Tony, come here. Don't worry about it. Biden will give you a preemptive pardon before he leaves office. We got you, bro. Sign it. Say it. Do it. That appears to be what has happened. Millions. Listen, I'm talking Holocaust. Millions of people lost their lives. Millions and millions and millions of people took that vaccination. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I got an itch in my nose. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people became billionaires on what this guy said. And he's given a preemptive blanket pardon. There's no justice. Are you really sitting out there right now thinking to yourself that Barack Obama might go to jail or any of his crimes? Hillary Clinton's going to go to jail? These people have been accused of murdering witnesses. They disappear, they vanish. Cooks, cleaners, writers, all these different people that had Whitewater, they had all kinds of evidence against this family, the Clintons. And they're dead. They're dead. And you think you're going to get her on this? On spreading a lie about President Trump and Russia and collusion with Putin? It was all a lie? And she's going to go to jail now? Really? They're in a club. They're in a club that you and I are not in. They're in a club where they sit behind closed doors and they give each other immunity and they pardon each other and they make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Congress people that sit there right now going, you can't believe what Donald Trump is doing. Check her account. Check Pelosi's account. Follow the money. Follow the money. Look at how much money this woman's made with her husband. Legally, as a congresswoman that makes $250,000 a year? No, you didn't, lady. No, you didn't. You're a crook. You're a crook. You used insider information. You used your power so that your husband and you could gain and your family would make millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you know what? No one's going to do anything about it. That's the sad thing. No one's going to do anything about these people, these criminals. They're criminals. And I watch other podcasters and they won't come out as hard as me and say, this person's accused of murder. This person's they won't say it. They won't say it. They're a lot of them are worried about the numbers of their show or what might happen to them. I'm right here at my house. Come on over. Come on over. See what happens. Motivation and controversy. The pardon was seen by some as an effort to protect Fauci from potential retribution of prosecution by the incoming Trump administration, according to the AP News. However, the move was controversial, with some critics suggesting it implied wrongdoing on Fauci's part. Fauci himself stated that he had committed no crimes and saw the pardon as an acknowledgement of his public service. So my father was a school teacher for 30 years. I didn't see him get a pardon as an acknowledgement of his public service. My brothers and I and my sisters have raised millions and millions of dollars to find a cure for breast cancer in my mother's name. I'm not granted a pardon for the years of public service. Neither have my brothers that I know of. He saw it as an acknowledgement of his service, his public service. Well, that's bullshit. We know that's bullshit. We know that he was granted that because eventually certain documents would become public. People would talk, and we would find out that favors were done to people. And listen, this is also part of how the game is played. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The most important thing to do is follow the money. What would be the motivation for Barack Obama to start an entire story, an erroneous, they made it up from scratch story about Donald Trump? Well, they don't want him to be popular and they don't want him to gain momentum, and they wouldn't want him to be reelected in 16. And they made sure of that. They did. And they also, their history on that election in 2020, you think things were screwy in 2016? It's the Houdini effect, which I've talked about before. Let's wave our hands all over here, and while you're looking over here, what are we really doing over here? So we'll know more about counties and stuff, and it'll come out. It'll be slow. There's a way for that to happen. I've said all along, when it comes to Epstein, I never believed that Trump was protecting himself. Is it possible in my mind, and from rumors that I hear from, not the same rumors that you're hearing from, or maybe some of you do have friends that I know. It's possible. But I think more than likely he's protecting, if he's protecting anyone, he's protecting friends of his own, people that he doesn't want to see get in trouble. I bet you there's a number of people on those lists that he'd love to see sink. There's some pretty famous names on there that, well, we'll see. We'll see what they're going to do. But I don't believe for a second that, there's a statement alone. Donald Trump has never been to the island. I don't know what stuff they're going to say happened. And I think when they talk about interviews that are going on with people that were very close to Trump, are very close to Epstein. I think that maybe they're trying to make a deal. Maybe they're trying to make a deal with her. Everyone wants to point the finger of, it should be terrible that he's allowed to speak with Maxwell, and she should be, sequestered in front of representatives of other parties, blah, 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 blah. He's the president. He's not trying to hide anything that he did. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's so sad that that's how they're able to twist it, just like the Russia thing. They're always going to twist it to make it sound like the president and his administration are doing something wrong. But to meet her privately before she's prosecuted, which they do all the time, they offer deals to people that are in prison. They offer deals to people that are being prosecuted. You roll over on this person who will shorten your time. So it might be that they're trying to put together some kind of deal. Why do you think they're so discouraged and so outraged? Because some of the people that this woman could roll over on are some of the most famous and former powerful people ever. Like super, super, super powerful people. Yeah, they don't want that to happen. But they're going to point it at Trump, like Trump's trying to hide something that he did. Yeah, he's a bunch of different things. His ego is pretty big. He's a powerful, smart guy, Trump, but he's not a pedophile. That's not what he is. That's not what he's about. So, but rest assured, I'm sad to report to you, as I started the show, and I said, is anyone really going to do any time? The reality of that is probably not. And there are people that have committed war crimes that we talked about today. War crimes. For profit, didn't care. I have a friend, Tom, and he lost his mom, and he lost, I think, a brother or a sister to COVID. To think that people were aware of the fact that they released this virus knowing the potential death rate. And you know what? I don't think it's the last one we're going to see. I don't. To think that they took ivermectin and certain homeopathic remedies off the shelves and made them scarce on purpose so you desperately believe in the vaccine. See, that's what terrorism is. This was a terrorist act. It forced you to be fearful enough. The 9/11 dropping of the buildings and everything was an awful, awful act. Don't get me wrong. And we could get into that whole conspiracy for a long, long time. But remember how many people were afraid to fly. It was like Jaws. When Jaws came out, I was a kid. And that summer, people were not getting in the ocean because of the influence of a film. I saw it. I saw people not get in the water on the weekend. They were like, yeah, no, I'm not going in there and having what if that big shark from the movie's out there? And the same thing. People didn't get on airplanes for a while. Ticket sales were down. They were giving tickets away to go places after 9/11 because people were afraid. They were going to get on a plane and 3 people were going to jump up and take out box cutters and say, we're taking over the plane. That people were legitimately afraid of that. It really hurt the airlines for a while. They're going to come up with another wave of something. It made way too much money, and they don't care about us. If they cared about us, they would remove certain dyes from foods. They would stop certain things from happening. They wouldn't stop us from developing cancer drugs and stuff that are better than the ones we have now. The FDA won't approve them because that would cripple the ones they have now. And the guys that own all the stock of the ones that they're using now are paying off the people to make the decisions. They don't get caught in the illusion that they care that much about you. They don't. They care about your money. That's what they want. That's what drives them. We got a guy in there right now that wants to stop a lot of this. We do. We got Robert Kennedy, who's in there going, wait a second, man. There is a correlation between X, Y, Z and autism. I can prove it. They're going to make it really hard on him. Poor Bobby Kennedy Jr. He's in there swinging away, overhand haymakers. He's swinging now, trying to get it done. It's just not that easy to get it done when you're up against that kind of money. So I'm going to conclude with no, there won't be a lot of prosecutions. They may hang a couple guys out, these deputy FBI director guys. They'll say, yeah, I remember it came from Tom's desk. Well, Tom was in charge of that, wasn't he? Tom, did you do this? It'll be great watching them, do proceedings that make them all happy, and they'll have, Senate subcommittees that are investigating it. And They'll all be home talking about, here in Indiana, we're cleaning it up in Washington. I'm on the subcommittee for who made up the Russia thing with Trump. And we're getting big results, and we're gonna make change. It's all such a show, man. It's such a show. Only place you can hit him is at the wallet. That's where you can make a difference. That's where you can do something still. It requires an effort of a group of people that costs them money. That's how you can get something done. It has been the crux of what has made me wonder, should I just run for office? Should that be the final act, the last 20, 30, 40, whatever it is. I hope it's 40 years, but at least 25. So should I just go run for office somewhere so I can get up there and I can, make my voice heard and maybe represent a small contingency of people properly and show people how it's supposed to be done? Because, man, it's discouraging. No one's going to get prosecuted. No one of any real weight or value. They're going to keep getting away with it until we change the way it's done. So sadly, a lot of people we covered today, COVID, the whole Russia thing, Barack Obama, who, I supported Obama. Let me tell you something. Let me just remind you of something. People out there that watch and write these terrible things to me sometimes that you write. I was behind Barack Obama both elections. I was. And the more I learn, the more about him, the more I study, the more I go deeper in and read, the less I like him now. The more I wish I had not supported him. Where's Michelle at? Nowhere to be found. So I wonder why. But yeah, a lot of stuff years after, Secret Service guys that worked with him, other people, former Duke basketball players. Barack knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming out about this guy. It's just going to become more and more and worse and worse. But he's untouchable. They're not going to touch him for sure. He's immune. Unless they get him for something, like I said, he's done after his presidency, which I'm hearing more and more stuff that he might have been involved in now after the presidency, which he doesn't get immunity from. But he's still Barack Obama. People don't like, they went after Nixon pretty hard. They wanted him. They didn't like him. He was very unlikable, though. He was, brilliant guy, long-term politician. People forget that that's who Jack Kennedy beat in '60. But yeah, he just was never liked. He was just kind of swarmy looking, and he was always nervous all the time. Barack Obama's a brilliant speaker, handsome, gets out there, puts it out smooth, like a CIA operative, Barack. Anyway, I'm going to end the show with the sad note. I don't think we're going to see anybody go in. But write me your thoughts. Please subscribe. Subscribe to the show. Hit like if you can, if you do, if you like the show. I appreciate it. And keep writing your comments. Ask me direct questions on TikTok, guys. You're writing, hey, Daniel, blah, blah, blah. And it's great to have you write me anything. So please don't think I'm not appreciative. I am. But if you write me a question, I can then take it and say, Tom so-and-so from blah, 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 or maybe read out your handle or whatever and put it out there that, you've asked me something. I comment back to some people. It's a lot of comments. Liking the show, subscribing to the show, sharing the show, all brilliant stuff, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you for doing it. And one of the things I received before I go into how I end my show was, do you think you lose a lot of audience members because you pray at the end of every show? Do you really think I care? Who doesn't want to watch my show because I pray? Really? No, I don't really care. I don't. I'm proud of my religious and my spiritual beliefs in Jesus Christ. So here we go. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for your continued guidance and your protection, the hand that you put across myself and my family, my wife, Deasia, and my children. I thank you, God. God, this country has so much going on in it right now. I mean, it feels like a roller coaster ride. Every day, every other week, there's some other semi-truth, partial truth, total non-truth. But I pray for ease, Lord. I pray for success for our country. This administration is making deals, financial deals that will have a long outcome, and we want to see the prices of things come down. And if taxes went away, Lord, we're talking about no taxes in our country. Oh my God, Lord, please make that happen. Please make it so that tariffs cover our bills and we could take away some of these exorbitant taxes so that mid-America and other people that need the money could live a more prosperous and beautiful, healthy life, Lord. In your name we pray, amen. There it is, man. I forgot to mention that. Maybe we'll do a little show about the potential of eliminating your income taxes. What would that mean? I mean, that's thousands and thousands of dollars to a lot of families. That's the vacation you want to go on every year. That's a beautiful Christmas. That's that new car. That affects a lot of people. So powerful stuff that this administration is trying to pull off. And you know what? I'm going to add on, even though I came out of prayer. I pray for Barack Obama. I do. I pray for him. I pray for the people on this list. I pray for the people. I pray for Anthony Fauci that he could find Jesus. That he, for the things that they're saying he was involved in, for the things they're saying that he willfully took part in and knew what he was doing. Wow. If there's anyone in our current times that I've heard of that needs to find the Lord, it would be him. It really would be him. So he has to ask God for forgiveness. You guys have a beautiful week. Just a tremendous, tremendous week. And I will see you on Friday. God bless you.